School climate strikes go global, with actions planned in 92 countries.
Here's a summary of the article.
From the world's northernmost town, Longyearbyen, down to Cape Town in South Africa, from the western tip of Anchorage in Alaska to Tokyo in Japan, young people are preparing to go on a school strike for the climate. We are the last generation to have a realistic chance to prevent a climate catastrophe. According to the International Panel on Climate Change, we have less than 12 years to deliver the changes required to avoid this, but we do have the means. The school strikes for climate were initially spurred by the solo protests of Swedish 16-year-old Greta Thunberg. The teenager has since become a figurehead for the global climate movement, garnering praise for her blunt and persistent activism. Climate strikers are demanding that countries comply fully with the Paris Agreement, which aims to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels. We have lost our belief in a real change for climate politics. We have lost faith in our generation's future. When adults do not act responsibly, we as an international youth movement perceive it as our duty to be the voice of reason. In France, a video by climate school strikers called on high school students, parents, teachers, citizens to take part in the action.
This post received a score of 44,477, with an upvote ratio of 83%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Anyone have a link that describes how to support the movement in each country? I'm in Canada and was thinking of supporting the kids on site.
Fridays for Future has an online map of locations people are demonstrating at. I'm taking the day off in solidarity with the student strikes and attending my local event. Here's the map. We adults need to step up and use whatever power we have to get this problem solved. If all those concerned about solving the climate crisis collectively went on strike, it would change the entire discussion.
Considering people like the US president consider it a hoax and scientists facts fake news. I think we need more than strikes.
I always liked the story of how the Roman people got more rights. The 60% that weren't allowed to vote just collectively leave the city for a couple of days so that the people in power could see how it is without them.
Well, rights was a bit of a loose term back then. And the Romans aren't exactly the first example that comes to mind for how to protest.
Kids don't get involved in politics. Baby boomers. Kids these days are so uninterested in politics. Kids protest against climate change and actively engage into politics. Baby boomers. Bloody kids only looking for excuses to skip school. What about you? Let the adults handle the politics.
Young people speaking their minds, gettin' so much resistance, from behind.
Fuck, that's a good song.
What's the song'd name? For what it's worth. It will never not be true, sadly.
In the state, GA, where I used to teach, any student participating in any kind of walkout or strike would be automatically withdrawn from school.
Can you source that? I'm not able to verify your claims. Just last year, this guy got suspended for 5 days but was not withdrawn. I believe you are mistaken.
I left Georgia 12 years ago and it was definitely the state rule back then. I believe there was a clause that gave the superintendent the right to re-enroll them at their discretion. I'll do a little research when I have time a bit later.
Thank you.
Man, this has been one of the most depressing comment reads I've had in a while. So many people have completely given up on the future and are completely apathetic. I gave up after working in construction. The amount of plastic and foam and hazardous waste they throw away is depressing. That's not even including the recyclable waste that they just don't. Also not even those alone. The amount of energy it takes to grow a tree or mine ore and everything that it takes to process it and get it to job sites just to be tossed is insane to me.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.